Welcome to Sunday Vibe here at Vibe Unit. This is Sunday Vibe session 112,
Yes, sir.
and we are a collection of musicians located in Benton Harbor, Michigan. Our goal is to connect with artists and tell people and folks in the area about local events. Also, we host some of our own events, all at the aim of connecting artists with one another and facilitating their creativity. One way we accomplish this is we meet here every Sunday and kind of touch bases. We broadcast once a week and talk about local artists, recording bands, and workshopping music with artists, as well as report on some current events happening in the area. If you know anyone who would enjoy this, please share it around. We are broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Also, we have an Instagram, which we just realized is probably where all you musicians are at. We're going to try to focus on that a little bit more and try to connect with some of you folks. Take a moment here, talk about our donors. So let's throw up that little decal. Are we able to do that? If you're on the list here, we have much to thank you for. We had quite the rough couple of months trying to get all our gear up to date and make sure things are running properly. I don't know if any of you got a chance to tune in a couple weeks ago when our audio completely crumbled beneath us and we had to replace an audio interface, and donors help us do that. So if you'd like to get involved in any kind of way with the Vibe Unit, send us an email at media@vibeunit.com. I'm going to put out the call here. We are currently looking for bands and artists that have at least 30 minutes of original material. We want to live stream and showcase your group. So if it's original material, you got about 30 minutes. And you
you said group, but solo acts are
solo acts
also
as well.
welcome.
I did say groups, and yeah, solo acts. In fact, we'll talk about it for maybe a little bit, but we did see some cool solo acts at the open mic night.
We did. We'll get into that.
And we'll get into that in a moment. But we would like to connect with you and provide you with any kind of information that we can to help you get plugged in. Anything we can do to make your visit with us comfortable. Well, that's about it. Again, our email is media@vibeunit.com, and we have a great episode for you today. We're going to talk about some current events that have happened. I think the open mic night was last Sunday. Am I right?
Yes.
So we haven't even had a chance to talk about the Livery's open mic night.
Because the last time we did the podcast, it was like just before the open mic.
Yeah, we were
so
headed
we didn't
there.
know what was going to happen at that time.
We connected with a couple of folks there. Great turnout, actually.
It was fantastic.
Full list, which is really nice. You love to see that.
A couple of full bands too, which was neat to see.
Yeah.
It reminded me of some of the Thursday jams we used to do back in the day, like at
the
Hidden
hall?
Point. Yep.
At Hidden Point Hall.
If any of you out there are, musicians in the area that have been around for a couple years, that was a kind of a fixture that a lot of folks are kind of in the know about. So it was a really good vibe. It really kind of felt like that. Everybody just around, and
The spirit
the
of that
energy of just
lives
wanting
in.
to play with each other. So it was awesome.
Yeah, the spirit of that lives in here with what we're doing now. I mean, we were very inspired by what was happening there.
100%.
And yesterday we had our open session here at
We did.
Vibes. So we did our open studio hangout, and it was good. We had a couple folks come out, and
Which I need to apologize for. I realized that we didn't really market that super well this time around. Like we were talking about before we started the stream, the open mic came up really quick this month, and open session came up really, really quick too. So I'm gonna try to do a better job of that in the future. But we really are doing second Saturday every month, so you can plan on that. Even if you don't see a post from us, it's because I didn't get to it or something, not because it's not happening. So
it will happen regardless of whether we post about it.
correct.
Also, if you want to be a part of that next month, it'd be cool to get a bunch of folks in here making some music together and hanging out. And we're trying to figure out a way when folks come in to kind of like maybe communicate some song ideas or just like get everyone on the same page or figure out a way to get everyone to be able to work in their own little bubbles and whatever. We don't exactly know what it looks like yet at the second Saturday session, but our main goal at the moment is just get a bunch of people together and maybe hear some ideas of things we can do with it.
Do you need an invite for that?
You do not need an invite for that. You just have to know it's happening, and you have to be here anytime between 2 and 4. Just know it's over at 4, and
Yeah, we're out of here.
we're
at
out of
4.
here because typically we got to go to work. So it's just how it is at the moment. But
Come out, meet some people. Maybe jam around a little bit. We had Katie came out,
And
Nick
Nick.
came out.
Yep.
We played around a little bit. We just got a PA in here, so it's nothing special, but it gives us a little bit more options for I guess kind of the casual jam opportunity. So yeah, I guess there's that. I'm not going anywhere with that. I'm
Kate,
happy about it, and we used it yesterday, and it worked. So.
something notable about yesterday was Katie recently purchased a new Vox, which I'm really excited about messing with. That thing sounds
Beautiful.
awesome. And then she brought her Stratocaster, and that guitar's cool.
I really enjoyed it.
Katie and I are continually working on getting her a set list put together. We're working with my sister Hannah, who plays the drum machine, and yeah, it's been really cool. We've been continually focusing on that, but hitting some walls in terms of like how we want to run it. Like it's mostly about decision making and like what's our set list order and all that. And also we're treating the computer like the fourth member of the band. So what that means is I have to program it to operate the way I want it to. And that's, even though I can envision what I want to do, I have to learn a lot of the stuff to like kind of make it work. And it makes Ableton seem really appealing because I'm doing it on Logic right now. And
Yeah, I feel like we've basically been headed there for years, and neither of us has really been that willing to take the plunge. And I know a lot of people use it for really more than just a live thing, too. I mean, I've recently been seeing people who even just, they'll do their songwriting, or really I've even seen full productions done in Ableton, which
Yeah.
I don't really get. It's just the interface isn't familiar to me.
It's jarring especially when you come from the other ones. Like you're very familiar with FL
Yeah.
and Logic by this point.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with Logic and Renoise.
I'll say it started with FL, then I learned Pro Tools, and then switched from that to Logic around the time we started working on records together, and then kind of stayed there, I guess.
We've been there, but when I read the plug for Ableton, it tells me that the point of it is for live performances and to get out of the way of the music being made. It's supposed to exist as like a congruent tool to use that you don't have to fight it. Once you understand like the basic premise of how it works, it's really up to you.
Castiel031 says hello.
Hello. Welcome. If it's your first time, great to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. So we're gonna. I think I'd like to talk a little bit about the if we can remember this far back. It's been a week and a lot of stuff has happened, but remember the open mic night that we had at the Livery, which again, awesome turnout.
It was great, honestly.
We I remember telling John at the beginning of the night, I was like, the whole entire list is filled.
The list was filled like long before the night was over too, which really, I mean, that's great.
There was a few in the winter where we're asking, hey, you got another song to play? We got to fill up a couple more slots here. But this time, folks were walking in. I wasn't even sure. I saw a couple guitar players walk in. I'm like, I hope they already signed up.
I hope either they put their name on and they're just coming back expecting maybe it's their slot, or I really feel bad because maybe they're here too late and they won't get to, right?
Yeah.
And at that point too, the open mic at the Box had already happened, the one that Matt hosts. So it's like, well, I can't just tell them, hey, sorry, buddy, there's no slots, but if you want to go play here, because that had happened the Wednesday before. So
Right. So I want to give a shout out to Connor because
he's been really consistent.
Yeah, very consistent. Your voice is insane. I love it. It's so like, it's got like a euphoric vibe to it. Very nostalgic. It sounds old school, but like, I don't know, and it's cool with Connor. He's such an unassuming guy. Like he's just like super talented, and really liked that.
Yeah, I was happy. I was happy to see him
And-
come. I
and
was
he-
like, yes,
And
because it started to become a thing. Like now that it's been going for enough enough months, it's like I'm starting to figure out who, like, at least for me. I don't know if you do this, but with open mic events, it's always like, oh man, like I hope the next time I come here that they play something, or I hope they're a regular here. You know, if I
Yeah.
really enjoy the whatever the music they're playing is or singing or whatever it is. So
and then we met Peter.
yeah,
Peter brought a hollow body guitar, and he was playing through his own amp. Did he have a Vox amp?
I think that was a Vox. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I can't remember
It was
now.
either that or like maybe a jazz chorus.
No, it
or
was
something.
a Vox because Katie pointed it out,
Oh, okay.
and she owns a Vox.
It was a very good tone though. So
We caught him on the way
if you
out.
happen to be watching, my friend,
Yeah,
very nicely done.
very good. I caught him on the way out, and I'm hoping to get him on here at some point
that'd be cool.
to play some
that'd be
for
cool.
us
Yeah,
as a
we'd really like
showcase
that.
because he has originals, and I asked if he could fill up a 30-minute set, and he said he may be able to, so that'd be cool. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, and then John and Kenzie and
In Winfield,
Winfield.
we did
You guys did a song.
Too Good at Goodbyes.
Yeah.
I got to hear that, and it was very, very good.
It was okay.
I mean,
But you know me, I'm always critical of myself.
from my standpoint as an average viewer, it was really, really good.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was
I
good.
enjoyed it. We had a good time doing it.
It was really
So.
good. Yeah, it was good to meet Kenzie, get to know her a bit. She's got a very pretty voice, and you two have written some stuff together recently I'd heard, and it's really fun. I think it's like a lo-fi down tempo sort of setup you guys got on that song that you showed me, but
Still trying to just figure it out. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm just kind of, in general, just trying to explore whatever music and just see what can be made of it, I guess.
We
in
ended
general.
we ended up coming over here after the open mic night and hanging out a bit, and that
Yeah,
was
we
cool.
jammed here a little
we
bit
jammed that
too.
song.
And then we jammed. We've just been having jams in here.
Yeah,
You know what I noticed?
yeah.
All the jams happened as soon as we set up a PA in here. So I don't know why we waited so long. Anyways, sorry.
Well, yeah, the PA being in here makes it a lot easier because then you don't have to worry about headphones or whether people can hear stuff or not. You just turn up the volume and
It's less setup for sure.
it's less setup. You just route it in the mixer where you want it to go, and it goes, and it works, and it's really nice. And it'd be nice to maybe get a sub in here too eventually. But
All right, Mike.
I'm just thinking about
All
always
right.
improving, always moving up.
I mean, if you make one show up, I won't, complain.
Yeah,
or
I know.
anything.
I've already looked into it. $800 a minimum for a
Mhm.
good, decent one. Would be nice to have $800 to spend on a sub and then not think much of it, but
Someday.
someday we'll get there.
Someday. Speaking of subs, this is going to be a very loose and stretching segue.
Okay, I'm following.
But last night,
Yeah, the subs.
you want to talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit?
I'll bring that up. Okay, last night we saw a band at the livery. Well, technically we were running the sound for the band at the livery. The band's called After Hours. And what these two guys can do with just being two guys and how full they sounded. I sat there behind the board and for a moment had the imposter syndrome hit me. A little bit of envy,
Yeah.
but also like inspiration. I've felt a lot of things very quickly, moved through them all, and recognized that these two guys are very talented. John noticed how consistent the drummer was, like minimal movement, maximum results.
What kind of music?
The technique was insane.
Well, they call it
Head nod jazz.
which you know what's funny? Okay, so this is really funny. When I read that on the bill, I was like, all right. Like,
did you
like,
feel
what-
like me?
what is
okay.
that supposed
look,
to
No,
mean?
I don't
Like-
mean to be disrespectful. It sounded pretentious.
just in the sense that you're like, I don't like you could say that about anything. Like
Yeah.
any like my music is head
It's kind of
nod,
like when you
whatever.
hear like
any kind of
intellectual
music.
dance music. You're like,
Isn't
Is
it
it
just
though?
dance music
isn't
though?
it just dance music?
Like-
What's so intellectual or intelligent dance music? I'm sorry.
But it literally was that because my neck is slightly sore from all the head nodding
Wow.
I did.
We were head nodding and they
So
were
it was
playing
accurate.
jazz. It was very accurate.
It was
and it wasn't
excellent.
pretentious. These two guys were like the salt of the earth, like very genuinely nice people. Easy to work with.
Yeah, the nicest folks. So
We enjoyed we talked to them intermittently as we were helping them set up, and turns out Eli is classically trained, and his guitar. Let's talk about his guitar for a minute. I wish we had a picture to show.
well, you can look it up. So it's literally just called a hybrid guitar. And I actually just went to the website. It's hybrid-guitars.com. And they have this thing called the Hybrid 7. I guess maybe this guy called Charlie Hunter might have been the guy to like come up with this idea, but it's basically it's an instrument with two outputs. 3 of the strings are bass strings, 4 of the strings are guitar strings. So the way he was doing it was basically split to 2 different signal chains, and so from our standpoint, mixing, it was a guitar and a bass.
Yeah, he had two
Separate instruments.
quarter inches coming out this guitar, and running to two different inputs for us. We were able to mix the bass and the guitar separately, which makes it extremely easy on the mix engineer, and also enables him the ability to create loops without the loops getting too muddy or the sonics interfering in a bad way. I was completely impressed. And so this guitar is so crazy. John already explained it, but yeah, I noticed fan frets, hollow body, 2 outputs. Like,
Had you ever heard of it before either?
I've never seen
never
anything
seen
like
it.
it. Well,
It was like a unicorn.
to be honest, when I first saw it, I go, "Oh, that's just a 7-string like multi-scale, right?" With some beefier strings on the bottom.
Mhm.
But like the separate outputs thing is
That's
the
what
thing
kinda,
that
yeah.
really threw me.
I think he mentioned that. No, maybe it was someone else we were talking to. But I guess like it's custom guitar, isn't it? Made custom, or they actually? Did you say that they were made? I didn't catch everything you said.
I mean, I don't know if you have to order. They might be custom to order. I mean,
Anyway,
hard to say.
Yeah,
I
hard
haven't
to
looked
say.
that deeply into it, but it was a very, very neat thing that I've never seen before in my whole life. So
yeah, and
really cool.
So then there was a drummer, and then
So the
Yeah.
drummer, his attention to detail with the way he's thought about his set, the way he built it up. We talked to him for a moment, asking him about his snare drum, because the snare drum was so nice. In fact, somehow I'm getting compliments on the snare drum, and I
Well, then it's like the same thing when I get that kind of thing. It's like, look, it's the source. I promise you. You know what I mean?
I made
Like
it
they
work.
just brought me a really good drum, and that's that.
so it makes a difference.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Big difference.
Oh yeah. By the way, since we kind of touch bases with the production world anyway, being what we are here, it is extremely important to know that getting it right at the source helps everything along the process. I mean, any disruption early on in the recording is going to only be exacerbated by the processing.
correct.
So like getting it right at the source. So in this case with the snare drum, yeah, he had a good source.
It confirmed another thing that I've been trying to figure out for a while, which is like, what do I really want in a snare drum? Even the snare we run here, I have it as close as I feel like I can get it for what it is. And this one's metal.
Yeah.
I don't usually like metal snare drums, but this one I've had for a while and I kind of like it. I'd really like a wood one though, right? And there's many different woods.
And different woods have different
they have
tones,
different
fundamentals,
characteristics
or,
to it. Yeah, like some of them,
which I thought was woohoo,
they'll.
but it turns out to actually probably be real.
No, that's definitely real.
I don't know anything
and
about
how many
drums.
layers
I'm
too,
learning now.
like all that. But I've pretty much identified that my preference, at least lately, for the music I've been doing, like I like birch
Yeah.
because it has a really low fundamental, but you can still really get a nice crack on it. And for whatever reason, I would even say it's almost maybe too fat, but I'd rather get rid of a little something than try to add something that isn't really there, if that makes sense. So
Arthur's the drummer's name. He had like the maximum number of snares on the bottom, right? Or is that what they call them? The
the
they call 'em-
wires, yeah. Interestingly, he's using the same wires I am. It's just a preference thing.
He had a lot on
Which,
there. Which also does that increase the fatness?
Definitely.
Okay. See, I'm learning. We're learning
Definitely. But it doesn't affect the tone. It's just
Okay.
like the fatness of the wire sound, you know, that
Oh,
vibration
right. So the
part.
more snares you have, the more vibration.
The more consistent I feel like that is, and it's a thicker component of the sound. But the pitch of it has more to do with how you tune it and like the fundamental of the drum shell itself.
Another quirky thing about this group was the drummer had a telescoping hi-hat.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Is that what
he
they
was
call it?
using
Telescopic?
it's just like, I don't know what you really call it. It's like a remote pedal basically. It's just a cable.
It was a
a
cable
cable
he has to
hi-hat.
attach from his pedal.
Because he
and it-
wanted
and
the
it's
pedal in the
flexible.
usual spot, but the actual hi-hat set up like
And
kind of in front
and
of
didn't
him.
he have a larger hi-hat symbol on top and then a smaller one on the bottom? Is that what he said? I missed that part. But anyway,
They weren't hats. They were technically two other symbols.
Yeah.
like, which I've done too. Honestly, are even the hats that are here, that's not a match set either. I have one alloy on the bottom and another on the top. I just
Okay.
like the way it sounds right now.
So yeah, it was cool. I just saw a lot of unconventional things last night, and then that leads us to the thing that I was enamored by, the thing that made me feel like I wanted to go home and just make music.
Please talk about it. This thing was sweet.
There is a device that the guitar player had. It was a little box, very inconspicuous. Doesn't look like it does anything really. It had wooden buttons. The buttons were made out of wood. And when he played this thing, it sounded like a video game. It was using like pure oscillators, like square waves, and it had like very simple interface. Like you just kind of like turn knobs and make things happen, and it doesn't really get in the way. You don't have to menu dive too deep. And guess what? This thing sounded incredible. It's called a Critter and Guitar-y Pocket Piano. And if anyone out there is a synth head like me, you probably have seen this thing on Instagram or
Wait, you'd seen this before?
I had,
Oh,
but
it was brand new to me. It blew my mind.
But to me, I see a lot of things like that on Instagram, weird things. I actually compared it to, there was a huge thing that happened in 2020. Ash and I would go on Etsy and we'd see people were making their own synthesizers and selling them. Just little like cheap synthesizers that were like,
Although they're
not cheap, but not cheap.
Yeah.
What should I say? They were just like,
they're
I guess
super
not,
custom.
not cheap. That's the wrong word.
DIY.
Simple, very DIY. But they did one thing usually.
Maybe basic is the word you want?
Yeah, basic. That's what I should say. Very basic, simplified things, but they were made very well, so not cheap. Like I'd see things like this all the time. This kind of reminded me of that. And what's cool about it is it runs on batteries. It's got a built-in speaker, and it makes video game sounds. Dude, it's like
It was really good.
it's like speaking right to my soul.
when Eli was showing it to us,
Yeah.
when we were asking him about it, some of the sounds I was
He was
hearing,
just
I was just like, it was
sweet.
nutty.
It was cool.
I don't know what they are, but like exactly what's creating it. But some of the sounds he had that just they were, like you said, reminiscent of old video games or that kind of thing, and the way that they worked them into the set and with the loops was just unbelievable.
How do you control that?
It has like little buttons on it that
The
are
wooden-
almost like
The drummer was controlling it
no,
he was
the
The guitar player
guitarist
was.
and bass player.
in one.
Let me just read this. It says, the 201 sound engine is a much improved and has chiptune style waveforms, analog style filters, drum samplers, realistic physical instruments models, and even a human vocal synthesizer.
So this
Now,
is the new one.
this is
right?
the new
Yeah.
one. He had an older version that is discontinued, but this is based on the same spirit. So the knobs have a straightforward function with a wide range, so you can dial up your sounds quickly and easily, predictably. To top it off, the 201 sequencer can record and recall thousands of your creations. So I think he was doing that a little bit. He'd pull like maybe he wasn't doing it on this one, but he had like arpeggiators and stuff that were like kind of like in, and he'd run that through his looper, and that would become part of his sound, and he'd build in it. And he was doing a lot of just like really cool ethereal sounds that were just like just pure waveforms that just built up into this.
Oh, if you're gonna go check out this group, if you're gonna go check out After Hours, and you want to hear this synth, what was the name of that song that they used it on Heavy?
I wish I had like written stuff down, but I was
Cutlass
so focused.
Supreme, I think, was the name of the song.
I could probably look at like they do have an album coming out, so I don't know if it's on their newest one.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up here.
Okay, you go for it. Yeah, they had a new record coming out soon. But yeah, awesome guys. Really appreciated getting to know them. It was an honor to be able to mix for them, and appreciate their consistency and genuine humility and love for the game. Oh yeah, Cutlass Supreme. Yeah.
Can't play too much of this, but
Oh, by the way, you guys can't see this video, but
Yeah.
Walls. Yeah, it was a great experience, and again, I feel spoiled being able to participate in that at some level. So that was really cool.
Could you spell out their group name?
Yeah, After, as you'd expect, AFTER space hours, OURS, not hours, but hours.
little pun action
Yeah, I
for
like
you there.
A little different, but yeah, they're great. Yeah, check them out. It goes to show, and I was just talking to John about this before we started streaming. Musicianship and ability to play well is very vital to being a good musician, but also equally, if not more so vital, is being just genuinely kind and respectful, and just being kind, and that helps you go far too, because you're not just selling your music anymore, you're selling you're selling your personality.
Sure.
And honestly, like, if you're hard to work with, doesn't matter if you wrote the best song. Yeah, it makes if people feel uncomfortable working with you, you're less likely to get work. So I don't know, just being mindful of others is super crucial here.
It was also a testament to what you get out of 15 years of playing and practicing with the same people. You know what I mean? 'Cause,
Absolutely.
man, they were tight, but I know that's what that comes from. You know,
You could
that's not,
see
it's not just a thing you acquire. You know, you have to work very hard at that.
it's the kind of musicianship that when you watch it, you're like, oh wow, that looks easy, but then you realize, oh my god, it's not because it's easy, it's because they've worked.
It might be now.
They make it look easy because
But-
it is easy for them at the level they're at. Yeah, it was fun.
Inspiring though, to say the least, because I know you were juiced up seeing the synthesizer he was running,
Yeah.
and the hybrid guitar bass thing was just absolutely mind blowing. I've never seen anything like it. And then, just kind of the general, I guess we'll just call it the palette of the evening. I mean, it literally was just super jazzed out shapes and loops over like just the tightest drumming. So how can you
Definitely.
go wrong? It makes me want to spend more time and practice,
So
which is good, I guess.
yeah, so check them out. I think we're just gonna throw this out there. After Hours, look them up, check them out, follow them around, see what they're up to.
Check it out.
Don't
If-
follow
if-
them around in person, but
Yeah,
follow
that'd be
them
weird.
online.
That'd be really
Well,
weird.
no parasocial relationships, please. But yeah, get to know their music. I mean, if you're into jazz and also like some like good rhythm,
And you like to head nod.
and you like to nod your head, they're the band for you. So, all right.
And they got stuff around. I mean, I'd looked online, and there's material out there for you to find. Live stuff. Various records, and it sounds like they've got another one. I don't know when that's going to be releasing, but they're in the process of working on that too.
They also don't know when it's going to be releasing.
They did say that, so that's what I'm saying. I certainly, if they don't know, I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully soon. Great music. Great guys. So, anything new coming up like down the pipe? I know we're at that point of the month where, we've done the open mic nights that tend to populate the early month, and then we've hit the, we're kind of on the downside, or like on the downhill side of the month, where we're kind of preparing for like the next month.
What's the next event?
For us, it's the next open session or Vibe Unit session, open studio, which will be. I don't actually even have the date. It's that far away because we just had ours yesterday.
That's true.
That'd be our next event. We are going to keep in contact with some of these venues around here and just kind of figure out what's going on and what kind of events are happening that might be appealing to our community of, musicians that are looking for opportunities. But other than that, I mean, you and I got some personal work we're doing. We don't have to get into it too much unless you want to, but I know you were writing some stuff that we're going to look at this week, and I'm on a little bit of a break this week from the Silhouette Plane project. We got some folks out of town that are involved in that, so we're not able to really get much work done. There's work I have to do because unfortunately, I still have to tell our fourth band member, which is my computer, how to play the songs. So I'll be teaching my computer.
It's real stubborn, huh?
Very. I'm very. Look, does anyone out there that I know, do they know Ableton in a way that they can kind of like condense it down and give me some tips? Because that'd be cool.
It's something, yeah.
I mean, I don't mind doing the
need
work
to
myself, but it'd be cool to have someone to talk to about it.
Generally, the way it seems to go with me, I do like to read a lot to like get some general idea of what something is before, but usually what I like to do is get into it and try to just do the thing I want to do, and then when I run into a wall or it's not doing what I want, then I'll go read, which sounds really backwards, right? Because it's like, why don't you just start with figuring out what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, good advice, right?
But I have to somehow it has to be like that process that really solidifies like, no, it has to be done this way because it fundamentally works a certain way. And those moments eventually get my brain to go, oh, I understand how this whole thing is supposed to work. And then after that, it's just a matter of like refinement. You're not fighting against it really heavy anymore. You're just letting it do what it does and then trying to improve it.
Well, now that we felt that with our respective DAWs that we're comfortable with, it's so hard to start over.
Oh, I know. Well, it's kind of like what you were saying about watching like musicians like Anthony and Eli, like
Arthur.
Arthur.
Yeah, Arthur.
I mean, sorry.
That's right.
Anthony, Jesus. It's just like one of those things where you go like, you see everyone else doing it, and theirs is already prepared, and the session's in there, and all the stems, and the clicks, and the guides, and everything. And you're like, and I've played in places where we've used that stuff, but I'd never had to build it.
Right.
We would get these and sometimes change things or put our own stuff in, but I've never seen what do you do if you're starting from scratch. I installed Ableton, and I need to build a set for playing this song out or whatever.
Yep.
Or set of songs, I should say.
Yeah, I read like the first page of the manual, but still haven't gotten into the fun part yet.
So I think for me, it's going to be I need to acquire it.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's basically a necessity.
I think it is. I think it's becoming that, and I've actually dealt with Ableton a little bit. I have the Studio Lite version, I think it's called, and they have some videos on there which make it really easy to like when you. It's cool. Like, built into the program, you can hover over something. It says, "Would you like to see the tutorial video for this real quick?" Or I think that's how it worked. Or there's a tutorial section, but like it gives you a guide, and then you just follow what they do, and you get to do it within the program, and it's really cool, like how it teaches you. So
the Lite version's free, isn't it?
It was with my controller.
Oh, okay.
So I think in order to get a license, you need to buy an Ableton gear, and I had bought the Lite, their like littlest keyboard that was like $100. So
I think Lite has some pretty serious limitations, doesn't it? Because I
Absolutely.
tried using it once and realized that the basic thing I was trying to do in it, which is like I said, put a set together for live related stuff, couldn't do it.
It does. It has a lot of limitations.
Could
so
be me. I maybe didn't know how to use it, but
yeah. So, yeah, it's just a matter of time.
So yeah, that's
but is
the
that
next,
what
the next
Lipstick
mountain
Jody
to climb, right?
was using? When we
definitely,
talked to Andy,
everybody's using.
Andy was telling us that, and then I think another thing that Logic really is bad at is it doesn't like to be controlled by other MIDI timecode. It wants to be the one in control. So it like in order for you to have any device connected to Logic, you have to make that the main MIDI timecode distributor. So
wouldn't that be preferable anyway, though? Look,
is
at the end of the day,
then you can't have
could
two
make,
versions of Logic running simultaneously.
Like, I feel like I
don't
can
know.
make Logic do all the things I want Ableton to do, but then that will not force me to grow and learn a new thing. So it's a thing we really will just get into
Okay.
and figure it out.
All right. Well, we said it here. Might as well be gospel.
So that'll hey, given that we're pretty dumb about it at this point, like maybe we should just go into it and maybe show what we're figuring out.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
So
If you want to see a couple of naive guys trying to figure out Ableton and attempt to figure it out, and you can follow us on our journey. Maybe that'll be some content. That'd be fun. So anyway, what else do we got?
I'm trying to think. We don't have any like major
There's nothing going on.
events or anything coming up.
Just
other
personal
than,
work.
like you said, it's the time of the month where we're all just kind of like, I guess, preparing for the next thing. Which, as you said, for us here at Vibe, it's second Saturday.
Yep. We'll have some open mic nights coming up. I know we're gonna when we get closer to the next month here, we'll talk about the Box Factory and we'll talk about the livery.
Still no though with that we I mean that is set in stone. I mean it's first Sunday at livery, first Wednesday at Box.
Yeah,
that's what we know
and,
right
and
now.
Matt Lenny is the host. Matt Lenny's awesome guy.
We're hoping to have Matt on soon, right?
Yeah, we're working out the details, but
Cool.
we're hoping to have him on, talk a little bit about what he's doing in town here and what his role is and maybe some of his experiences. He does have an album release going to happen at some point, or it has happened. I know his album released, but right?
Yeah, he's doing like an event for that.
Yeah,
but
he's
the
doing an
I
event.
believe the album is out because I heard at least a single from it
Yeah.
last week, and it's excellent actually. If you
So,
haven't heard it, check that out.
Yeah, we're hoping to have him on, and he's going to talk a little bit about his music making journey, and we'll have some questions for him for sure. But that should start us off on getting to know some folks around the area that are musicians themselves, or maybe have a hand in some music making things. I know, talking to event coordinator at Delivery, right? Is that who it is? We're talking to Brandon, and we want to have him on maybe at some point. So we'll get through all that.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were talking about potential guests. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
Brandon's
talking about
somebody we
potential
wanna have on.
guests. Brandon, and then there's some bands that we're working out. It just seems to be that we're really, really excited to host a band here, and so I'm just gonna throw out the plug one more time.
It's just all that scheduling.
I know it.
I'm gonna throw out the plug one more time, and I'm actually gonna get into some more details about what it would look like to perform here. So we're looking for a band or an artist, a single artist, it doesn't matter. A band or an artist who has at least 30 minutes of material, original material, and would like to do sort of an audio tree / tiny desk / KEXP style recording here, where we get to ask you a couple questions in between songs, get to know you. We want to have you on. We want to do that. And the way it would look is we would want to meet up here around 11:30. Before that, we want to know what kind of set you have. We want to have, what do you call that chart again, John? I always forget. We want to have the chart for like the input plot. We want to have an input plot for you and all that, like you would for a venue, right?
Yeah, we just need to know what you have.
We
what you're
need to know what
bringing,
you
that's all.
have, and so we'll meet here at like 11:30. Get ready, set up for that. We want to stream by 2, and then we'll run the stream, and however long that takes, hoping for about a 30-minute set, and then a little bit of buffer time in between, and then call it good. And it'd be a really fun experience, I think, for us and for you. So yeah, come through. I mean, it'd be so fun, and we're really chopping at the bit because we have everything we need to do it.
Also, if there's anybody you'd like to see beyond in terms of guests as well, like send us those suggestions too, because you might be interested to see kind of a curtain pulled back on some things that we haven't even thought of. So
Also, to ride that coattails back to the band thing, if you know any artists that are shy about hitting us up, but you know that they could do it, send us those people too. Maybe we'll hit them up.
why not?
Why not? Well,
Cool.
session 112.
I was gonna say, I don't
Hang
think
out,
there's literally
vibe.
anything else
Nothing
to
else.
do.
Well, there's a lot for us to do after the stream.
What do we have to do?
Well, we're going to rock and play some music, I think, and just hang out for a bit. We haven't had much opportunity because we've been so busy with other things to just kind of jam and hang out. So maybe we'll do that. And then also, I know we got some work to do this week, so I'm excited for that. But anyway, that was session 112.
Cool.
Wow, 112 is awesome. On March 12th, which is
Very
kinda-
cool.
Yeah, serendipitous.
Wow.
And that's it. We'll see you next week. Hit us up at media@vibunit.com if you have any questions or have any suggestions on people to have on. And please like, comment, subscribe. And one more time, want to thank our donors. I'm going to throw that up one more time. Again, look, this is super helpful to have folks who believe in us enough to part with their money to help us keep this thing going. It indicates to us that you believe in what we're doing, and also gives us the opportunity to continually provide this for you guys. And it's been really meaningful to us to have that. So appreciate you.
Cool.
Okay,
Is that it?
I think so.
Okay. Bye. For real this time.